Like, this is a very special spot, obviously. You're just telling me a little bit of history. But curious, you've served the city of Goleta for what, almost 15 years, 14 years?
I'm completing my 14th year on the city council.
And you were mayor?
Twice.
Twice. Why are you wanting to serve as mayor again?
Well, my original idea was because our city's going in the wrong direction. If you look at our roadways, they're crumbling. You look at our parks, they need maintenance. And we're still sending so far we sent over $100 million to the county in the revenue neutrality agreement. Monies that this city could use. But then the pandemic hit, and my focus changed. And my focus changed because in 2009, when I was mayor for the first time, we were recovering from a recession then. We had to eliminate 7 positions. We had to eliminate 2 deputy sheriff positions. And we had to drastically cut expenses. I was mayor. I worked with the city management on that and led the council in making these very tough decisions. So here we are again now in 2020 with the same issues. We've frozen 12 positions. So we're not hiring. We've cut back expenses like you wouldn't believe. But that's just the beginning. We got to look at our capital improvement projects. We have a lot of big projects on the table. Perhaps we stop, invest the money somewhere else, and let those projects come back when we're in a better position.
So you're kind of touching on it, the best approach moving forward, during this pandemic, post-COVID.
Well, it's how we handle our household budgets. We have to live within our means. The government has to do the same thing. We only have so much money coming in, and we have to spend it wisely. Council recently was considering a 1-cent sales tax to go on the ballot this November. I fought against it and was able to get one of my colleagues to go with me, and we stopped it in its tracks. 1% tax increase in the middle of a COVID, in the middle of a recession, now is not the time to tax our neighbors.
I'm backtracking a little bit. I want to know what has worked well for Goleta since becoming a city 18 years ago. What hasn't?
Well, this is my 14th year. I've had many councils that I've worked with, many council members that I've worked with. The one thing that's consistent is we've always understood to live within our limited resources. And we've done very well. We put money aside. We're now in a position now to take care of any future pension liabilities because we've created trust funds to handle that. Stuff that other cities wish they had done years ago. We're doing it now. So I think the financial part's worked out because I've always been the fiscal hawk. I've always looked at the budget like I do my home budget, like I do with all the nonprofits I'm involved in, look at their budgets to make sure that we have maximum utilization of the monies we have. What's gone bad is we don't take care of the basics. And if you drive down Cathedral Oaks, you see the condition of that roadway. It's horrible. And it's going to require millions of dollars to fix. When the county built that roadway, they had a very poor base. So it's not just put an overlay, it's actually digging it all up and doing it again. So we've got to focus again on the basics. Focus on our infrastructure, our parks, our streets, and make sure that the police and fire respond when you need them. We're currently in the process of trying to build a new fire station on the West End. Coastal Commission just approved it, finally. But this idea was created in 1963. The county didn't do it, and it's taken us all this time to get to where we're at now. The one thing that's left is how we're going to pay for it. So eventually we're going to have to take out a loan from the state to handle the construction and get it built. Because like I said, in 1963 they found a critical need for fire service on the west end of our city.
So I talked to you, actually let me go back to my other question about just your stance on growth. And you've touched in it in different ways, but overall, your stance.
Well, I think that we've had managed growth. I mean, I get accused of being the pro-development candidate. When every decision's been made, it's been made by 5 members of the council. I'm just one. But I think that the growth that we had, the building of the hotel, The bed tax is the only tax that we keep 100% of. We share our sales tax with the county. We share our property tax with the county. So building the one hotel there at Hollister and Stork, and also having Bacara within our city, helped us with one of our larger incomes, that's the bed tax. Right now, we're dealing with how we're going to handle the allegation of the RHNA requirements, the regional housing okay. The Santa Barbara County Association of Governments is going to issue our RHNA allocation soon. City of Santa Barbara, it's estimated that they're going to have to build 8,000 units by 2031. We haven't got our numbers yet. So once we receive the numbers, it's going to require our staff and council to think outside of the box on where we can put additional housing. Now, it helps with the ADUs that the state passed. You're allowing for homeowners to increase the value of their property and provide additional housing. So we've got time to plan. Staff is looking at our available inventory of property. And because we lost the redevelopment agency, we're going to have to kind of think of ourselves as a redevelopment agency and how we redevelop certain areas of town to provide additional housing.
You and I talked a little bit briefly about this, but the national issues, the conversations that are happening right now regarding racial justice, injustices, police reform, all that's happening right now in our world. Anything that you see that needs to be changed differently, something different within the city of Goleta based on all this?
Well, I'm extremely concerned about the racial equality. If people think it doesn't exist, you're fooling yourself. It's existed since I was a child, growing up in Santa Barbara. I've seen it as a police officer. I've seen it as a city council member. I mean, I can recall the first few years when I was on the council, when I went to the event at the Red Lion, and I'm in a black tie. It was a fundraiser for honoring teachers with the ADL. I'm in a tuxedo. And as I'm going to get my car, I get a tap on the shoulder. And this young woman asked me to get her car. Was it because I'm brown? Or was it because I was in a tuxedo? We need to have real communication on this. That's why I pushed the city. We are now creating a diversity officer to look at our organization, to look at other companies in town, encouraging them to show more diversity. But the other thing that is really something that I can do immediately is once I'm mayor, the mayor selects the commissioners because we have a directly elected mayor now. It's no longer up to the council. The council will only ratify the mayor's recommendations. So as a strong mayor, I will find the people of color, the black indigenous people of color, get as many of them on board as we can, truly represent our community and put people in the right positions.
Doing anything differently to attract tech moving forward?
Well, we've always been very fortunate with having UCSB next door and their partnership with other schools and their partnerships with the industrial community. We've always prided ourselves in Goleta of having startups, an idea that started at UCSB and now they wanted to give it a try. We created the entrepreneurial magnet, which was very successful. So the city needs to encourage this, and the way we encourage it is by easing our policies, our procedures on businesses, fast tracking them so they can get on quicker, because the longer you wait, the more it costs you. And we've been very fortunate. I will push for that.
Let's see. You also touched on it, the new fire station. You also have this train station undergoing, major changes as well, working on the old town. Just want to talk about infrastructure overall and what's being done and the importance of all of that. Where do you feel will really bring the most significant changes for generations to come with all that's happening?
Well, the train station that's currently under the planning stages and we have the money to build it. We just approved the design, and now they're trying to implement it. I mean, it's known that when you build something like that, you build community around it. So you'll see new startups, you'll see new businesses, be it restaurants. We're going to make it easier for the buses to get down there, to get UCSB students in and out. It'll be a destination place. That is very significant. The commuter rail we have, maybe people will take more advantage of it, knowing that we have a nice structure where they can go in and get a cup of coffee, they can relax, wait for the train, or wait before their shuttles come to pick them up to go to work. So it's very exciting. The fire station is again very critical to this community. We will be able to serve the West End, not just the West End of Goleta, but further into the county, because no longer will we have to take fire service from Stork or Los Caneros. They'll be closer there, especially they should have all the equipment for water rescue being close to Haskell's Beach. So it makes total sense to have it there, and we just need to build it quickly.
And then, if you will, touch on the issue of homeless and the encampments, the growing number of encampments, increasing numbers of fires that the city of Goleta has experienced in communities nearby from those warming fires and things that are coming from those homeless encampments.
Well, we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place on this one, because the courts decided we cannot disturb their encampments for fear of spreading the virus. In the meantime, we've created problems like fires, significant fires. We had one at Fairview and Hollister that crossed the freeway. Fairview and
it was right off the 101.
One off the 101, yeah, the 101 at Fairview, and it crossed. It started on the south side, jumped the freeway, and guess what's right there? A gas station. So luckily our fire service responded quickly and put it out. But we've had another one right next to Hayward Lumber. I mean, that was scary. I drove by that one. A fire there would have been of immense, it would have been absolutely huge, and would have affected a lot of us. So until we can deal with COVID, we won't be able to deal with the encampments. So what we're doing now with them is that we're delivering trash bags to pick up their mess. We're getting it hauled out. The Caltrans has cleaned up the underbrush so that we can see where they're at and also reduce the fire hazards. And then right now we're trying to find places where we can house them. There was a plan by the county to take the Super 8 motel. That didn't work. They have some places in Santa Barbara we could take them to. And just finding housing, even temporary, to get them off the street. That's always been a plan. The city now is working on a homeless plan to engulf to get all those plans in motion. So it's a long process, but it's one that's very concerning to me as far as the hazards that are being that we're facing because of where they're at and the fires that they've caused.
And then just lastly, anything that you want to say about your run, the third time for Mayor of Goleta?
I'm looking forward to being the next mayor of Goleta. Like I said, I did it twice, 2009, 2013. I've been on this council for 14 years. I've never missed a meeting. I am committed to making sure I meet the obligations of the contract I signed with you when you elected me. I'm very excited about moving this forward to the next step. With getting us out of this recession, we're going to need a 5-year plan at least, like we did in 2009, to be able to show measurable outcomes as far as how we're improving and make the necessary steps. I hope it doesn't mean terminating people, because we're lean as it is, and we've already frozen 12 spots. So we'll live within our means now and then gradually increase. But it's that leadership that I've able to provide in the past. I look forward to providing it again. I just need people to vote for me on November 3rd.
And I'm hesitant, but I want to ask you if you're able to say one positive thing, one word, positive word to describe the current mayor. What would it be?
Commitment.
And one negative.
One negative. not supposed to talk negative.
So
But
could
you know, if you on a negative, I'd say focus. And the reason why I say that is because I feel we're going in the wrong direction. We need to refocus on the basics.
Here.